The race to the midterms heating up. You may have heard. Now, Ivanka Trump is reportedly hitting the campaign trail, stumping for House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy in California. This comes amid reports the GOP midterm strategy is to focus on states that President Trump won in 2016. So let's talk about this. Chris Wilson is a partner at WPA Opinion Research, one of the largest Republican polling firms, and Doug Schoen, former Clinton pollster and Fox News contributor. Good to see you both on this Memorial Day weekend. All right, Chris, let's talk about these states that President Trump is said to be focusing on. There's that reporting that the current White House strategy is calling for Mr. Trump to focus on fundraising and campaigning in states key to the control of the Senate. So let's take a look at this map we have. Indiana, Montana, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, all included in here. How do you see this playing out? Is this a good play?
Yeah, it's an excellent play for the president. You look at his range in winning these states is anywhere from a high of 40 points in West Virginia to around a low of 20 in Missouri, where I think he'll probably be focusing his travel. And each one of those represent excellent pickup opportunities for the Republican. I mean, you look at Patrick Morrisey, the Attorney General of West Virginia, is already up 2 points over incumbent Senator Joe Manchin. You look at Kevin Cramer, has led in every single poll I've seen in North Dakota over Heidi Heitkamp. Matt Rosendale, who's probably the likely Republican nominee in Montana, already is running very close to John Tester. And then you look at Missouri and Indiana, where Indiana is a little bit more difficult to poll. Hadn't been a lot out of there since Braun won the nomination, but Donnelly very vulnerable there. And I'd have to say that Claire McCaskill is sort of the Mary Landrieu of this cycle. Mary Landrieu, who was really never up and never had a chance to win re-election in her state in Louisiana. And I think Josh Hawley has really come into his own as a very strong candidate there in Missouri and is most likely to take him out. So I think the president going to all of those states is positive for the GOP.
All right, Doug, what do you make of that?
Well, I make that the Republican strategy, given that the president's approval is 42%, is a very narrow one, and to only concentrate on the states the president did well in. And that's certainly a smart strategy. But on the House, which Chris didn't talk about, it's a much tougher strategy to employ successfully, given the number of retirements. There are about 40, and the fact that on the West Coast and the East Coast, there are literally enough seats available to give the Democrats control of the House without really penetrating the states and the seats in the Midwest.
Right. And you mentioned the poll numbers, and I do love to talk to you about the poll numbers.
Please.
The most recent Real Clear Politics on the president's approval ratings, 44% approve, roughly 52% disapprove of the job he's doing. So is concentrating on the Senate areas where he's won the best move, that, as you see it, Doug?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is a smart strategy because the map, which has, I think, 26 Democrats up, 9 Republicans, heavily favors the Republicans, as Chris suggests. And it's going to be hard for the Republicans, even with a tie in the generic vote, which is a real improvement for the Republicans over the last few months. It's going to be hard for them to hold the House or even campaign successfully there. So my sense is it's a good and smart strategy. The Democrats' play, and it is a real play, is to try to win the House.
And you know, Chris, we mentioned it at the top. Ivanka Trump was just upgraded to full top secret clearance on May 1st. And as we mentioned, she's now reportedly planning on hitting the campaign trail for House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy. So what does all of that tell you?
Well, I think what Ivanka Trump does is she energizes donors, and that, while at the same time, she doesn't really energize Democratic activists. And what I mean by that, if Donald Trump were to go do a fundraiser in Los Angeles, you'd probably have the resistance out rioting in the street and turning over cars and setting things on fire and the things that they tend to do to show that how much they are just really angry right now. Whereas if she goes in, she can bring donors together. She excites donors. She also excites Republican activists. And so it's a little bit of a different play. And I think to Doug's point, look, there's no question that Republicans have challenges in a lot of on both coasts, but I actually, looking at a lot of the middle American seats, I believe the Republicans stand right now to do very, very well, to hold those seats that are open, but to where most of those retirements are, or many of those retirements are, and they are, I think they're in a much more solid opportunity to hold the House than they were just a couple months ago.
10 seconds to you both. Doug, what do you think will get voters out there the most? What is going to energize these people to get to the polls?
On the Republican side, it's Donald Trump. On the Democratic side, it's Donald Trump.
All right, Chris? Economy,
Doug
gun
and I
control,
agree on that. I
immigration.
think that's exactly right. Yeah, it really does have to do with the president right now. And I think Democrats calling for Donald Trump's impeachment is really the best play the Republicans have, because it's what's going to incite that GOP base and bring out that 2016 Trump voter that right now was maybe on the fence.
Okay.
Democrats should bury impeachment.
Look at you. Okay, Chris, Doug, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much. Always
you.
great to have you guys on.
My
All right.
pleasure.
Thank you.